Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever had a random ache or maybe a chronic tension and thought, what if this goes deeper than just muscles and bones? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're putting on the healer's lens. We're going to explore the deeply esoteric, philosophic, and mystic origins of physical disease. We're pulling from an ancient master healer lineage that literally traces back to the Buddhist personal physician, mixing in some profound Buddhist philosophy on the mind. So we're ditching the microscope for a bit and looking right into the mirror of the soul. To ground us, listen to this beautiful quote from the legendary 115-year-old master healer Baba Ram Dass. He said, "I didn't come to teach you. I came to love you. Love will teach you." We're so conditioned to see healing as just a mechanic fixing a broken part, right? But from this mystic perspective, true healing is actually rooted in profound love and deep empathy. It's remembering that the person in front of you isn't a math equation to solve, but a whole soul to understand.
So here's our roadmap for the explainer today. First, we'll look at the limits of modern medicine, then imbalances, blocks, and doshas. After that, the emotional roots of disease, followed by cleaning the inner temple. And finally, we'll wrap up with karma and the mind stream. Starting with Section 1, the limits of modern medicine, the physical illusion. Think about how we usually talk about getting sick. It's always a war, isn't it? We fight disease, we battle bacteria, we fight cancer. Western medicine is brilliant, absolutely. But it's very reductionist. It zooms in, isolates parts, and looks at static data. But the Eastern, mystic paradigm? Totally different vibe. It's not about battling an enemy. It's about purifying and restoring balance. Ancient healers look at the entire system. They know that just because a medical chart looks clean doesn't mean there isn't a massive energetic imbalance hiding right beneath the surface.
Actually, the ancient Buddhist thinker Dharmakirti had a brilliant take on this whole mind-body split. He argued that if the mind is just a side effect of the physical brain, then any physical change should cause an exact mental change. But we know that's just not true. A person can be completely physically ill, yet have total spiritual peace and mental clarity. So Dharmakirti points out that the physical body simply cannot be the absolute cause of the mental state. They're deeply connected for sure, but they are distinct streams that we have to harmonize.
Which brings us to Section 2, imbalances, blocks, and doshas, the energetic layer.
So how exactly does an esoteric healer see what an MRI misses? Well, they feel the pulse. By just lightly touching the wrist, master healers are tapping into the elemental energies literally flowing through you. They're reading your doshas. You've got Vata, your wind energy, Pitta, your fire, and Kapha, your earth and water elements. When you're healthy, these are playing together in perfect harmony. But the second that rhythm or strength shifts, a master healer can feel energetic blocks way before they turn into something a Western doctor would formally diagnose.
Now, what's causing these blocks? A massive culprit in this tradition is something called Basically, is a buildup of toxins. This could be from the food we eat or our environment, like exhaust fumes, processed stuff, you name it. When we're kids, we bounce back, right? We have a buffer. But over time, this accumulates like sludge. It causes inflammation and blocks your energy flow. So what we casually brush off as getting older or just random sickness is often, through the healer's lens, years of accumulated creating a literal dis-ease, a lack of ease in your body's natural flow.
And this entirely flips how we see the healing process. In the mystic tradition, the healer isn't some knight in shining armor coming to save you with a magic pill. They're more like a midwife. You see, you already have your own inner power. It's called Shakti. A healer uses ancient techniques like marma, pressing specific energy points to clear those blocks, but ultimately, you are the one delivering your own healing. You're releasing your own Shakti.
Moving on to Section 3, emotional roots of disease, trauma, and ego.
Let me ask you something. Where do you think these physical blocks actually start? If you're doing everything right, eating clean, avoiding toxins, why do severe illnesses still happen? To figure that out, the esoteric healer knows we have to dive into the shadows of the human mind.
And this is a total mind bender. Dr. Pankaj Naram, a modern master in this lineage, said that 90% of our problems come from emotional wounds or trauma from childhood. 90%. That means that severe depression, chronic joint pain, or even heart issues might literally be the physical manifestation of emotional pain that was never processed. Things like repressed sadness, fear, and anger act as these massive energetic roadblocks that slowly crystallize into real physical ailments over the years.
But hey, it's not just the patient who has to deal with emotional baggage. The healer does too. In fact, ego and fear are seen as the absolute biggest blind spots for a healer. There's this great story about a young Dr. Naram wanting to learn pulse healing from his 115-year-old master. What did the master do? He handed him a brush and made him clean toilets for months. Why? To shatter his ego. If a healer is walking around full of fear or pride, their vision is totally clouded. You literally cannot feel a patient's subtle energies if your own internal lens is fogged up with arrogance.
Let's look at Section 4, Cleaning the Inner Temple, the Spiritual Duty.
Contrast these two perspectives for a second. Our modern world pretty much treats the body like a very complex car, right? And the doctor is a highly skilled mechanic replacing broken parts. But an esoteric healer sees the body as a temple. They believe the divine, or God, literally resides inside you. So treating a patient isn't some mechanical chore to check off a list. It is a profoundly sacred act. It's literally cleaning a place of worship.
In fact, while many people seek enlightenment, or moksha, by retreating to a cave to meditate, the master healer's path is totally different. For them, true spiritual enlightenment comes directly through their patients. When a healer successfully helps a person clean out the dark, cluttered corners of their mind, emotions, and soul, when they make that patient's inner temple happy and whole, that is their highest form of worship. So how do you even begin to clean that temple? It starts with this incredibly powerful insight. It's said that in the last 6,000 years of human history, the greatest need people have is not love, but understanding. Just sit with that for a second. True spiritual healing doesn't begin when you hand someone a prescription. It begins the moment a patient feels completely, entirely understood, physically, mentally, and energetically. That simple, profound act of being truly seen is what ignites the patient's own healing power. Finally, Section 5, Karma and the Mind Stream, the Deepest Root. To really understand the deepest origin of disease, we have to look at the Buddhist concept of dependent origination. How does illness materialize out of nowhere? Well, it's a chain reaction. It starts with ignorance, our fundamental misunderstanding of reality. This makes us act, creating karmic formations in our mind. That sparks a flicker of consciousness, which then binds to mentality and materiality, creating our physical form. That form makes contact with the outside world, creating sensations, and boom, we hit craving and grasping. We desperately cling to pleasure and run from pain. And this very mental grasping physically shapes our reality. It's what pulls us into disease. In this view, physical disease is literally the echo of our spiritual cravings. Buddhist texts describe this mind stream in such a beautiful, poetic way. They say, the consciousness moves and turns, transmigrates and expires, and comes and goes like the wind. Think about that. You can't see the wind, but you absolutely see what it does. When the wind blows over a field of jasmine, it doesn't take the flowers, but it carries their fragrance everywhere. In the exact same way, our consciousness carries the fragrance, the karmic imprints of our actions and traumas, and eventually manifests them into our physical reality, whether that's radiant health or debilitating sickness. The ultimate proof of this disconnect between the physical body and the spiritual mind stream happens at death. Buddhist contemplatives have mapped this out meticulously. As the body shuts down, the physical elements dissolve. But when the breathing finally stops, consciousness doesn't just blink out of existence. Instead, there's an experience of clear light, pure, empty luminosity. For these ancient practitioners, this moment is the absolute proof. It reveals the indestructible nature of the mind, showing that your core spiritual essence completely outlives whatever physical disease your body was going through. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway of this whole journey. Healing is so much more than swallowing a pill to fix a broken machine. It's about clearing your energetic blocks, facing down childhood traumas, balancing your elements, and deeply understanding your karmic mind stream. So I'm going to leave you with a question to carry with you today. If your physical body truly is a sacred temple where the divine resides, what thoughts are you feeding your mind right now to keep it clean? Thanks so much for exploring the healer's lens with me today. Keep learning, keep purifying, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.